Okay, welcome back to the Q&A, and it's in 360 degrees. So just use your finger to scroll around, or if you have put your mobile phones in these cardboard headsets, or if you are like connected with a more advanced one, warmly welcome back to the Art of Impact Examination. I would like to start with a question to Emma and Aliki, and the question is from Wendy. As someone with a strong interest in reader-audience response, she wants to know if you see other uses for your app with this kind of audience interaction.
Start.
Hi, Wendy. We think of the reader's audience interaction in terms of location-specific situation when it comes especially to the VR or to work what we do that is location-based, like when we planned specific augmented reality animations in the city, like with Gluben. And then we think of it also as something that you give to the audience, and then they can look at it whenever they want and wherever they want, like we plan to do with stand-up comedy, for example, in the very, very end. Other uses, like as someone with a strong interest in this kind of participation, maybe we should just listen more what your interest is, and then we can speak around it.
I'd guess that what we try to do is think about how we can use it to enhance the space that the art piece is going to be in, so that whatever we do, it isn't just sort of randomly placed. Like, even if you can watch it anywhere, we want it to be adding something to the environment rather than just drop down and something to consume.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. We have a question from Bodana. I think it's for Katta. What do you think about virtual world influences on our real lives? Do technologies alienate us from the actual environment, people, or what are its influences on our identity's formation?
I don't know if I understand the question, but I answer it anyway, about how it...
How about virtual world influences on our real lives? What are the risks? What are the potentials?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential, mainly. That's why I'm interested in trying it out, because you are like in a complete your own world, and you could use all kinds of other things in humanity with that you actually are alone with your thoughts and what you see and how you perceive it, and nobody else has to know about it. And also that it could trigger sound and pictures, and you could play with tactility, that there are people around that isn't that, I've seen experiments that you have like a toaster coming up, or you have somebody doing like this, you feel the wind. So I think it triggers us, because I read also about this, like when you have amputated arms or legs, that you could rewire your brain into that you no longer have like phantom pains, and also like in post-traumatic stress, that you recharge your system instead of like, I saw a program about some people who are going surfing, like instead of when you get that stress that you get aggressive or anxiety, you get on the wave and you go, and when you relearn physically, then your mental health comes with it. So I think that's a nice way, and to be able to use it. But of course, it's also used for terrible things, like, not maybe all of us have seen, but Clockwork Orange, for example, like when you are forced to see something terrible, and that's why I also talk about the importance of what we see and what we talk about and how we name each other. If you we see what happened in the United States. Like if you always portray certain people in a certain way, there will be consequences. So I think the visual and words are very important.
Thank you. We have a question from Mohammed to Fares. He would like to ask, what is the film that inspired your vision the most?
Thank you, Mohammed, for your question. Actually, maybe I would say at the first, it's about the visuals and the story, from The Matrix, and I would say recently the work of Christopher Nolan, from Inception to the Dunkirk to Interstellar, and recently the Blade Runner 2049. So, yeah.
Okay, and we have a question for Maya about virtual presence that is a part of your research. Can you expand a bit on this? Is it something that is more acute now in these times, or is it something you think will change now, virtual presence? What are your thoughts on that?
The way I define virtual presence is kind of in relation and in regards to digital interfaces. So basically the live stream that you're watching now, the technology we're using to present the stream to you guys would be, in my view, defined as a digital interface. And then virtual presence is something that has been that can be technologically aided, like some of our experiences, mine in particular, or that doesn't necessarily need to be aided by technology. So we have certain works that are done without the use of, let's say, VR and AR, but still achieve virtual presence. So that's kind of just to clarify the grounds. Why do I think it's more important now? I think virtual presence is, with the rise of all the possibilities with technology, is actually something that can enable us to communicate with the audience in a way that really makes presence within a cultural institution, within a work of art, deeper, more meaningful, if it's thought through it. So I think it definitely offers us a way to, through the dissection of time and space, offers us a way to branch out and redefine how we experience art and how we experience the work of cultural institutions. So in that way, yeah, I would say the answer is positive, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And we have a question to Franco about the role of the objects in your storytelling.
Okay. Yes. I take as a base Jane Bennett when she speak about the body, the agency of the object, and I was interested in how our body relate to the object, and how also how the body experience can change the perception about an object. For example, I don't know, I was thinking if you have a physical experience, for example, I don't know, if you can feel how much you have to work, how much some people in another country have to work to get water. If you have that body experience, how will be your perception about this bottle of water when you have in front of you? So I think that this experience also with virtual reality maybe can bring that knowledge to your body. Maybe it can connect you to the objects in a different way. Maybe, have a different view of different respect, or I don't know, kind of a different interpretation of the object. So yes, that was like how I approached this idea of the object in my space, like how can the body interact with it, and what is the result. Yeah.
And Jackal, a question about the potential of the planned improvisation. Can the improvisation unlock or release like things from the story that you have maybe in a script or something? Or what is its potential, do you think?
If I understand the question correctly, is the potential that if I have a planned improvisations and then we go to start filming on set and then things goes wrong and then it doesn't really fulfill what we expected, then the planned improvisations actually help a lot. What I want to focus on my research and also in the film as well is about try to maximize the potential of improvisations. What you have is, on one hand, then it's like you leave the freedom and leave all kind of facilities to change your plan in case it doesn't really follow what you fulfill. But on the other hand, then you should also don't leave you with empty hands and just start to go filming, because we all know that during filming, during the productions, time is money. So if you only spend time on set, start to think about what to do, how to do, then it's totally, even you have a very small budget or even no budget production, then people is going to kill you because they will think that they are wasting your time. And then you are also wasting their time. So leaving the potential in a way that having a planned improvisations, but also leave the flexibility and also get ready to change at any time. Then this is one of the main questions that I always fall into. And then people, honestly, nowadays, especially in independent filmmaking, they will have improvisations on set because they don't have a huge production, they don't have a big crew, they don't get enough resource. But in the past, then people, whenever they talk about just improvise on set without any specific plan, then they will usually just have a very unpredictable mind, just leave everything. Hopefully they will be lucky enough to get what they want. What I try to do research here is try to make things being more systematic so that people, when they start filming, then they will know that they have something on hands instead of just being very nervous because they are absolutely having nothing at all.
Okay, thank you. And it seems like we have no more questions in the chat, but Aliki, yes, it's possible.
Yeah, that's perfect. I just wanted to ask because I thought a little bit in the meantime, and I think it was we didn't speak so much, for example, about the possibilities of using things we made while making the app for other uses, and I think this is something these questions kind of was including, but I didn't see it at the time, but I saw it now.
Yeah, this is very possible.
like for example, the tools that we used to make the stand-up on the table. It's like we made a specific piece that this could be used in, of course, to begin with, other comedians or performances that are based in, but for whom this kind of proximity is important, like it's in stand-up. And also other stuff, like, I don't know, even the meetings we have in Zoom, maybe we could have in with tiny holograms and pages and like, yeah. So yes, I think that the tools that we have used to make our pieces could be used in such ways.
I agree. I don't have anything to add on to that, I'm afraid.
Thank you for giving us the chance.
Yes, and thank you, students of the Art of Impact. You are all examined in your independent degree project. You have all passed. And big thanks to the audience who have been with us this afternoon. And you can continue to see the students' work on UniArts Play and on Research Catalog, and later on Diva. You can read their essays. So bye-bye from FilmHuset in Stockholm. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah.